is true? What is true? What is true? Truth is love.
Yeah, I'm talking.
You might want to start over.
Okay. You had me mute. You muted me and did not mute me.
Would I do that?
Damn. Well, damn. What are you trying to say without saying?
I didn't say a word.
What are you actually trying to say without saying? So, like, seriously,
Can you please just say hello to the people?
Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining in for another episode of Truth, Honesty, and Transparency.
Good to see you.
Why, thank you. I missed last week because, once again, the actual demands of being an executive is a bit much sometimes.
No
doubt. It can allow me to do the things that I enjoy, and I actually enjoy the show, and I actually enjoy co-hosting and conversing with you. That's one of the highlights of my Wednesday. It's very seldom that I find someone that I can play mental chess with. You know?
I love it.
Yes. So
let me go ahead and drink my coffee, though.
Yeah, and sip that, and let me drink my blessed grape.
I need some of that blessed grape too, but that's for another show.
So tonight's topic will be limitations versus boundaries. And do you know the difference? Because what I find is that people are limiting themselves from actually enjoying who they are and becoming to their own under the guise of it's being a boundary.
I don't think most people know the difference between a limitation and a boundary.
Well, why don't you do what you do best, Sir Webster?
Sir, you just call me Sir Webster.
Yes.
I just be talking. I miss you though, but dang. You are scary. So all right. So let's start off with the definition of a limitation. And this is a Oxford definition.
Oh, Oxford, you say?
Oxford.
Okay.
So limitation is a limiting rule or circumstance, a restriction. So limitation, like if you wanted to use that in a sentence, there's a severe limitation on water use, meaning that that is a restriction. A boundary, on the other hand, is a line that marks the limit of an area. It is a dividing line, like the dividing line between Texas and Louisiana, the dividing line between North and South Carolina. So a boundary is more of this is it, you can't go any further.
Or, just to speak on what you just said, the limitation of water is crossing my hygiene boundary. Go wash your ass.
You know what? For a millisecond, I almost did this. I know you ain't talking to me. I watch.
No,
because I'm a big dude, and we got to use all of our advantages. I got to go watch.
No, it wasn't you, but I was just making that in line with what you were saying. The limitation of water is now causing you, not you, but still, to push my hygiene requirement boundary. Yeah, you're going too far. Now you're starting to funk. You okay with that? Don't permeate that stink over here.
That is crazy.
But yes, that was a joke because
No, but you know what? You know what's funny about that? As you know, I used to do concerts and stuff in college, so I would meet a lot of celebrities, a lot of A-listers, B-listers, and you would be surprised who don't
Don't wash your hands.
these highly intellectual people don't believe in soap.
Oh
And
no, I
it was
know.
weird.
I've whiffed past too. Bradley, Bradley, and Matthew.
It's
Wash
like,
your
what?
ass.
It's like, wow.
Did you just hear what I said?
I did hear what you said.
Bradley, please,
And
and
this is a
Matthew.
record. No, wait a minute. This is a record for truth, honesty, and transparency. I have not had to say the disclaimer this early in the show. The views and opinions of Kelja, the Princess Goddess, do not necessarily reflect those of Blast Music 247, Blast Radio 247, Blast Media, and all of those
I could just
concerns.
be calling just names. Bradley and
But
Matthew.
then we get sued by everybody that stinks that's named Bradley.
Well, but you're not an A-lister either, so you know I'm not talking about you. So shut the hell up.
Wait a minute.
I'm just saying.
But boundaries and limitations. Now let me ask you this. Have you in recent memory had to exercise setting boundaries and knowing your limitations?
So that's the thing. The difference of it is that I limit the amount of stupidity that I choose to be exposed to. However, I do have hard boundaries, and one of them literally is that I do not tolerate being disrespected or giving disrespect unless provoked on any level. I just won't be around it.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one of my hard boundaries. Like, that is not something that anybody can encroach on any level.
Right.
But I do limit the amount of stupid that I am exposed to, which is kind of hard because you do know the ratio to common sense to stupidity is very high on the stupid scale. It tips over there. Yeah.
I mean, I can't lie and say I don't, because I do.
But within life, people believe that they're setting boundaries and they are limiting themselves. It's just the other day,
Okay.
when I was driving back, I just recently took a trip. So when I was driving back, I stopped at a gas station, and the guy was saying something to the effect of, he was like, "Oh, so you just a traveler?" And I was like, "Yes, but I don't just travel in the country. I also go out of the country. Like, I've been to Canada, not just in North America, but all over." And he said, "I don't travel. I'm scared to travel."
Why?
And then I asked, I was like, "So you're scared to travel? So you're telling me you've never been outside these city limits, a state or two over? Because where you are, you literally have, if I'm not mistaken, with Georgia, you have Alabama that's to your east, Florida that's to your west. What's directly above Georgia? Is that
Tennessee?
Tennessee? Oh yeah, Tennessee is that long. You have Tennessee to your north. And if you're going to go northwest, you have the Carolinas.
Northeast. Northwest.
Yes.
Yeah, northwest would be Alabama.
Tennessee. It will still be Tennessee.
Yeah,
So
Alabama.
northeast, you have the Carolinas. So you're telling me that you haven't traveled all over there. And this person that tips the scale, not in our favor. This individual that tips the scale on the opposite end of where I want to live stated that it's because of people. So, and I'm like, okay, so, and my question back to him was, well, what kind of people do you allow in your circle? Because if you're saying it's because of people, and before I knew it, I was like, "Oh, you're telling me you allow people such as yourself in your circle?" Because if that's the case, I wouldn't want to travel either. He looked kind of confused. I was like, my point exactly. You shouldn't limit yourself. You're setting limitations on the exposure that you could have and broadening your horizon and your experiences. by just staying in a spot that you know. And just as I say, all things, when you're the most uncomfortable is when you grow and develop. That's
Okay.
where you find who you are. But go ahead.
Okay. I just got to ask, how old was this person? If you had to estimate, how old were they? You were?
They were in their early 30s.
I think a lot of times, especially in the South, boundaries, the boundaries and limitations get passed down from parent to kid because of some kind of trauma, some kind of stigma that is attached to it, especially traveling.
So what I heard you say
Mhm.
is the stupid is inherited. That's what I heard.
I will neither confirm or deny.
You don't have to,
But
because you're laughing.
but
It's
but
gonna
you know,
take you-
I was always. But I will say this, and I'm going to say it like this: ignorance is passed down. Stupidity is basically inherent. I mean, it's inherent.
So
Ignorance is passed down because, like, you know, you have people who have a natural fear of falling off the face of the earth if they move off of their own block. That is an absolute truth. In this little town that I live in,
you're the block captain. You're the
no.
local block celebrity. I'm the block captain.
Oh
Why
my
are you laughing?
God!
Fall apart.
So far from it.
Not you, but I'm saying the example that you.
Oh yeah, and see, but these people, like, literally are afraid of trying anything new or going any place new, and to me, that is not setting a boundary or a limitation. That's just living in fear. That's none of that. That's because setting a boundary would say, you know what, I got warrants, I owe child support, I can't get a passport, I'm only going to travel to U.S. territories. Setting a limitation would be, you know, I'll go, but I'm just not getting on a plane because I'm scared of heights. I'll take a cruise. I'll get on a train, whatever the case may be. Those are boundaries and limitations. Having a fear of leaving one's comfort zone, yeah, that's just fear.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I just want to go back a little bit.
Anytime you say that, you make me nervous. Why do you make me nervous? I don't know. Because anytime you say that, I feel like the Hobbit in Smoke's cave, and I feel like, do I need to hide? Do I need to put on the ring of power and disappear? Because when you want to backtrack, it is wait a minute. How dare you, you silly Negro?
No, it's not that. It's nothing like that. But it's your level. I just want to give my understanding of the realm of the distinction that I have between ignorance and stupidity.
Facts. Okay.
We're all ignorant to some degree because we don't know everything.
That's a fact.
So ignorance is a given to everyone on some level, some topic in whatever area, because we all don't know everything. However, we're going to pause for effect.
I promise you, one of these days, we're going to put a t-shirt that's going to say however, and it'll have your logo on it, because that's going to be your brand.
We're going to pause for effect. When you choose to stay in that state of ignorance, you have now crossed over to the realm of stupidity, because now you're choosing not to know. Not knowing by default is fine, but not seeking that knowledge or that experience is stupid, especially if it's going to enhance you.
That part I can see. Facebook user says, preach. That's fact.
So that is the reason why I wanted to make that distinction, that ignorance, like I said, that's a given. Stupidity is a choice.
Yeah, I remember having a middle school coach, gym teacher, who always said, never be embarrassed of being ignorant because ignorance can be fixed.
It can, but stupidity is a staple.
But stupidity cannot be fixed.
It's not, because now, because as I said, ignorance is a given. However,
this is Javetta. I don't know why I keep saying Facebook user. We'll get to the bottom of that, Javetta. It's good to see you.
Why, hello, and thank you for tuning in. But as I said, when you choose to sit in a state of unknowing, when you have so many avenues to lift the veil, bring you out of triple stage darkness,
right,
and you choose not to know, then that's just being comfortable with being stupid. So that's the reason why I stated that stupidity irks me.
Right.
And that right there within itself, to be stupid, you have just set an immovable obstacle in your life that you keep tripping over because you just don't want to know. So that is the ultimate limitation.
Right. Like I think about what you said earlier. If I can circle back, what you said earlier about how you have to limit certain people in your circle. I'm like that as well, because I know me. I have a very, very smart mouth, and I have a joker switch that gets flipped on when I'm in the wrong environment, and usually I have to save people from that because sometimes it's a little uncontrollable, so. But beyond that, there's just some circles, there's just some energy that I just don't want to be around, because it stunts my creativity, it stunts my growth, but that comes from learning, and that comes from decisions that I made in my teens and my 20s when I was ignorant, and allegedly, when you know better, you do better.
But that's not necessarily, because someone can know all day long, and that's another thing. So when you know and you choose not to apply it, that's willful. Like you're willingly limiting yourself. I mean, like, it's one thing to choose not to know because you don't know any better or you don't want to, still stupid. But to actually know and have that resource where that can set you up to be better, to do better, to just, all you have to do is say, when you choose not to, that's willful ignorance at this point. So you got willful idiocy. Yeah. So you got ignorance, you got stupid, and now you just want to be an idiot because you know better, but you're choosing not to. That's just an idiot. Yeah, those are my three. ISI. Yeah, an ignorant, stupid idiot. I can't hear you. You're on mute.
I said you were on fire this evening.
But so, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So I found something, and we'll maybe we can break this down and see if we agree with it. 10 signs that you lack boundaries. Number 1, and Princess, feel free to chime in whenever you see something that you want to talk about. Number 1, you fail to speak up when mistreated.
I've known some people to actually do that. And what I've had to tell someone before is, if I do something to you that makes you feel a certain way, be it disrespected, or you feel that an action that I've done has caused you to shift or caused you harm, not physically, but any kind of way that you deem fit, and you didn't say anything to me, you own those feelings. Okay? Because you set your ass there and you didn't say anything. So I'm ignorant to the fact. What you cannot do is have an expectation on me that you did not tell me. And 2, you can't expect me to course correct something that I knew nothing about. Therefore, I don't own it. I can only be accountable for my actions and apologize. But the ownership of that now lies with you, because you own those feelings because you didn't say anything.
Yeah. And I'm the type of person that I tend to look at the root of, why didn't that person say anything? You know what I mean? What is it that is preventing you from defending yourself? Where did you get that behavior from?
Well, it's always a root to it. I mean, it could be learned behavior. It can be conditioned behavior.
Right.
Because condition starts at birth. You know, what does it do as I say, not as I do, because I said so. Don't question me. You know, the things that we're conditioned to succumb to as when we're kids.
Facts.
Learned behavior is when we relinquish all our power to a person whom we're either trying to keep or a situation that we don't want to disrupt. So it's either learned behavior or conditioned behavior.
Okay. Let's see. Number 2, you give away too much of your time. I know people who keep trying to call other people during a podcast, but I digress. I know people who I think they have good intentions a lot of times, but they spread themselves so thin, and then at the end of the day, there's this complaint that comes because I'm working too hard. And it's like, but not only did you not speak up for yourself, you volunteered for all of this work.
This task, you know me. I will say, if you don't shut the whole hell up when you ask for this shit, now you have to figure it out. But who's not afraid to say no is I. Because the first time someone asks me to do something, the first thing I'm going to ask is, why can't you do it? It's not my responsibility, but tell me why you can't do it, and then I will decide if I'm going to consider, as to decide and to consider if I feel like doing it. Because I've had people call to ask me to do something, ask me what I'm doing, and I say nothing, relax. They was like, oh, can you do this for me? No. It was like, but you're not doing anything to you. But to me, I'm doing my much needed self-care. I'm regenerating my damn mind. So how about you get the whole fuck off my phone? And stop asking for shit. Dude, the last time I checked, girl, you had a whole slide that you were doing over there. You know? You need to be asking it to do whatever it is for you. Because, I'm not doing that. No. I've had call, and this is how I get people to stop calling me, asking me for my money and time. You ask me for my money, I'm going to charge you 7% on the dollar. Yeah, long, short. So you won't ask me anymore. Secondly, you ask me for my time, it's going to charge you. Normally, my consulting fees are $250 an hour, $150 for a consultation. Do you still want me to help you with this or not? Things change when you start attaching price tags to it.
Now, look, let me tell you, that is an absolute fact. I remember there was a very, very famous producer, and I met this person's manager, and we got into a really, really long conversation. And she talked about how valuable her time is now, and how people. She was like, you really want to be able to find good clients. Tell them your prices. You know what I mean? Tell them your prices. If they see value in you, they know that, okay, this is not a game now. Now, if they just got money to burn, okay, then I'm going to have money to spend. But yeah, time is money. Nobody got time to be playing around.
And and so that's my limit. My limit is, if it does not make me money, because I tell people all the time that's trying to borrow money, my money makes money. Facts. So if you're not going to invest, and now I'm investing my money in you, you can't get a loan. You want to come to me. So yeah, where it will be, the whole thing will be 23% APR. My shit is 7% on the dollar. If you want to play that game, we can play that game. I'm okay with that. But I bet you won't ask me for shit else.
We don't have the time or the inclination to talk about what happens when people don't pay you back your money, because we are only an hour show. Moving on. Number 4, you feel guilty for dedicating time to yourself.
You skipped number 3.
Oh, I did? Oh, my bad. Number 3, you agree when you actual feel like disagreeing. Aha. You agree when you actually feel like disagreeing.
To me, I'm not an agreeable person.
What?
I'm not an agreeable person. You would have never thought. I know.
I am shocked and amazed.
Me too.
This is a revelation.
I just had to
Oh
say
my
it.
gosh.
Because this is what I have to tell people when I'm working. Just because we're collaborating doesn't mean I'm going to agree with you. I have my own thoughts. I have my own methods. I have my own ideology. Yours may be okay, but ours together could be better. I'm not going to do it just because you say it. I'm not agreeable, but I am. See, it's the difference between being compromising and being agreeable. It's a difference in between being agreeable and taking a stance, but taking a stance on something that makes sense. Because I'm collaborating doesn't mean I have to be agreeable with you. And I don't take you to be an agreeable person either.
You know, there's a difference between being a team player and being diplomatic, and then being what this one to me is like being a pushover.
That's it. That's what I'm
saying. No, that's so because I can't respect. Not only could I not respect myself, I can't respect you if you're a pushover.
See, and people don't understand that with me.
Yeah.
Someone told me that the type of men, the type of people that I like, I would have to, because I have a presence about me, a commanding and authoritative presence, that the people who I like, they have to be probably pushovers. I was like, the fuck? What makes you think that? Nothing about that is attractive to me. Having a meeting of the minds of someone that stands their ground, even though I can be a brat in certain instances, but someone that stands their ground, that is highly attractive to me.
Look, let me tell you something. I've watched enough Nat Geo and the Discovery Channel to know that if a lioness was in the Serengeti hunting a water buffalo and the water buffalo don't run, that lioness is not going to eat that water buffalo because something wrong. If you're not going to fight back, something is wrong with that.
So the thing of it is that what you're talking about. So I watched this documentary. I don't know what the name of it was, but it was this 2 lionesses and it was 3 male lions, right? The 2 lionesses was literally dangling the idea of mating with these male lions just for a level of protection, but they never would because they didn't show the alpha that they needed. So they were never going to sleep with them. However, just the thought of them making them think that they were, but they had no respect for them, but they knew not to disrespect them because they had cubs, and male lions will eat a cub and a heartbeat. In fact, and then we get off this subject, but in fact, this evil ass male lion, this is another one, but the male lion, he was cruel. He took one of his claws and severed the spine of one of his babies, so his back legs wouldn't work. So he left and came back, and because now he deemed his son weak. You know that fucker ate his son. And I'm not and let me tell you something. I'm not an emotional person, by far, overly emotional. But when it comes to 2, maybe 3 sets of people, little kids, the geriatric, and the IDD, the individually disabled, and the disabled, and it's something else that they call it. But those 3 people have a special place in my heart because they can't defend themselves.
Right.
And even though that was a cub in the wild, that still made me feel some type of way because you did that evil shit on purpose.
Yeah.
And now I'm done. That's a boundary of mine. But that's a boundary of mine. Mistreating. Actually, that's a limitation of mine, not a boundary. That's a hard stop.
Right.
When you mistreat those who cannot fend for themselves, you are a different type of asshole that needs to be eradicated.
That is an absolute fact. Now, we're at the halfway point. We're going to go to our Blast Artist of the Week, which is my homeboy, Chris White, with the track Every Day. Hope you enjoy it.
15, age 15. The Ferguson verdict got a lot of my white friends uptight, like they stayed up late watching Roots last night. I'm like, chill, man, I can't blame y'all for one flawed individual who made a bad call. I'd be just as guilty as them if I stereotype. Straight up, if you ain't black, you can't carry my plight. I don't expect that. Sympathy or empathy just filling me and giving me my space. I can respect that. When children get murdered who look just like me, then the killers go free consistently. We gotta check that. Shooting, robbing, and looting is not the movement or solution. Tearing down our own community, truly it's just a setback. But I can't just sit back and say nothing while my people struggle. God anointed me to protect that within my spirit influence. There are some pains you just can't explain unless you've been through it. Sensitive to the offensiveness relative to Ferguson. Familiar, I can relate cause I'm kin to it. That's why I keep it real, no pretend music. Politically incorrect, thick skin music. So believe me when I tell you that I know how you feel when vengeance is the Lord's, but you still want revenge. Like put me in the ring with that cow with no gun. Hands up, Shawn Michaels, I got him. Sweet chin music.
I just wanna put a smile on your face.
With my everyday, with my everyday, yeah. I wanna give you the highest praise. Age 15 for them abs, just leaving the lab. It's raining cats and dogs, so umbrella I grab. My man Owen bought me Burger King and cover the tab. Back to Patterson, I hop in the cab. We rolling out. Then out of nowhere, cop cars and the blue lights flash. I'm like, somebody must have done something bad. Then they pull the cab over, so it's getting realer. I'm like, this driver must be some type of drug dealer. Then they get me out the car and they search me. Illegally, I might add, it really irked me. Trying to get a reaction, speaking harshly. It's like 10 of them jokers would've murked me. With my hands on the hood, I just looked in their eyes like, why this man got his hands in my fries? I didn't do nothing. Temperature rising like Mob Deep, but I thank God for building me with that cool button. Now maybe you've never experienced that. Like we don't cause trouble, we don't bother nobody, we're just black. That happened years ago, but it's sad to say, cause still this type of stuff happens every day, okay? But hey,
I just wanna put a smile on your face.
with my everyday, with my everyday, with my everyday,
I just wanna give you the highest
yeah,
praise.
I wanna give you the highest praise.
My everyday living.
Will they reminisce over you? Will they reminisce over you, my God? Will they reminisce over you? I wonder, will they reminisce over you? Will they reminisce over you? Will they reminisce over you, my God? Will they reminisce over you? I wonder, will they reminisce over you?
I just wanna put a smile on your face.
With my everyday, with my everyday, with my everyday, yeah. Come on, yeah.
Give you the highest praise.
I wanna give you the highest praise.
My everyday living.
Now let me see that smile, baby boy, let me see that smile. Now let me see that smile, baby girl, let me see that smile. Let me see that smile, grandpa, let me see that smile. Yeah, let me see that smile, grandma, let me see that smile.
And that was my homeboy, Chris White. And if you are an independent artist, content creator, or even a stand-up comedian, and you would like to get a platform to share your art with the public, go to www.blastmusic247.com, fill out a free profile, and let's get to work. Blastmusic247.com, changing the industry one artist at a time. And Chris White will be on Blast next Wednesday, so that'll be a good show. That'll be good. So we are back. We are back with boundaries and limitations.
Boundaries versus limitation. Do you know the difference? And the better question is, do you have any boundaries?
Is that a
That's
microphone?
the better question. Yes, it's my microphone. It's my microphone.
I was
You
like,
cannot see.
was that a candle? I was like, that's too much sacrificial wine. And now you're fireproof. So I was like, whoa, this is gonna be a great show.
So the best person. So someone described me perfectly.
Okay.
So when they were saying like Game of Thrones, I just knew that they was going to describe me as Daenerys.
Mm-hmm.
But they was like, no, you're Dracarys. You're the dragon that lived. I'm like, did you just call me Drago? The damn dragon?
See, I wouldn't call you
It
the
was
dragon.
like, no, but because I asked why. That was like the dragon was intelligent enough to know its power, to use its power when he feel threatened. However, at the end, when Jon Snow killed Daenerys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though the dragon knew that Jon Snow was the actual killer, but the catalyst of that was the throne. She died because of her quest for the throne. So he melted the throne, picked her up and flew off. So he had that level of discernment to know what was the true root of.
So in other words, you're justice. That's what this is?
No, I'm not. No, I am not. I will not wield or hold that power. No, I'm talking about that he knows where the true root of a destruction is, or the reason of a situation. He just doesn't go by what it appears to be. As I stated, did you watch Game of Thrones?
Religiously.
Okay, so you know Jon Snow killed Daenerys.
Facts.
However, that's not why she died.
Right.
She died because of her quest and thirst for power and that throne. At the end, after he stabbed her, Drago came back. He looked at Daenerys, he looked at Jon Snow, he looked at Daenerys, he looked at Jon Snow, he looked at the throne. Jon braced himself to be eviscerated and incinerated by Drago. However, he melted the true cause was the throne, scooped her up and flew away. See, that's what they mean. It's like, go ahead.
I don't agree. I like your explanation, and I love your explanation, but make no mistake about it. You are the mother of dragons. Let's leave it at that. You ain't the dragon. You the mother of dragons.
I'm not.
No, but we're just gonna leave it at that. I love your explanation. It's very eloquent, very well spoken. And you know what? If I was in school and I needed to write an abstract term paper on abstract thought, I would actually use that. That is a great thesis. However, I disagree. I know who you are.
Okay, I'm just saying that was their explanation for it. And I just looked and was like, okay. If that's how you see it, then that's how you see it. I don't argue with people's perception of me because I'm not into convincing someone as to who I am. You either see it or you don't.
Facts.
However, I always ask someone, was your perception tailored of an exchange that you and I had? Or because someone told you? And if it's someone told you, then you're not interested in knowing me anyway. So what's the fucking point?
Especially if I have a limit on ignorance in my circle.
Stupidity.
And
which is ignorant because they're choosing not to, but go ahead.
No, you're right. We were on number 4.
Yes.
You feel guilty for dedicating time to yourself. I know a lot of people who struggle with this, especially people who do community work.
Sit. Sorry, it's my dog.
See, your mother of dragons. So I know a lot of people, especially people who work in the community, who have a problem with knowing when to turn it off and to dedicate time to themselves. They need to set up those boundaries, and they wonder why people get burnt out of certain professions. So now
Well,
you are in the deep end of corporate life.
mhm.
Do you know how to set those boundaries even in
Oh
your
yes,
work life?
yes. Because
How do you do that?
when my laptop goes off, it's off. And everyone knows that before I even start my day, I have 2 hours from 8 to 9 of preparation time. Nobody is allowed to set any meetings before 9 or any meetings that start after 5. Because if we can't get those meetings in an 8-hour span, then we don't need to be talking about it. The only time that I ever consider is if it's my West Coast clients because they're 2 hours behind us. That's it. So my 5 for them is 3.
Hmm.
That's the only way. I've
Mm.
canceled plans just to take care of me because
Mm.
I just didn't want to. And I don't feel bad about it. Because if
Mhm.
I'm not whole, if I'm not sound, if I'm not rejuvenated, if I'm not thinking clearly, what good am I? Of what use do you have for me? What use do I have for myself? I will never neglect the princess. She can never be neglected. So, especially not by me.
Right.
I love me just a little bit too, not a little bit, a lot of bit too much.
A lot
To
of it too much.
to ever neglect who I am for the greater good of anything that doesn't serve or feed me. I'm not doing that.
Right. Right.
Because
Oh,
to
sorry.
be selfless is rewarding.
Mm.
But at what cost? I will never do anything at the expense of I.
That's a fact. That is a fact. Absolute fact. Number 5. You feel taken for granted by others. Now, see, I have a problem with this one
Why?
because it seems like that if you don't speak up for yourself, you don't disagree, or you agree when you feel like disagreeing, and you don't take the time for yourself, you're asking to be taken for granted.
So
You're
that right there
you are what you're actually doing.
is
You're
providing an
actually
opportunity.
giving people the bat to beat you with.
Yeah, you're providing that opportunity and space, but also by you not saying anything when you feel mistreated or disagreeing. And you just sit there again. That is your tacit compliance that it is okay. Do I need that's another SAT word? Do I need to say anything?
Tacit compliance. I love it.
Yes. So all I'm saying is, again, if you're feeling a certain way and you don't say anything, then you own whatever feelings that you may have towards the situation because you didn't tell them. At any point in time, you can course correct. I have been called that I am confrontational. And I'll tell you what.
Who? Not you.
No, I'm really not. But let me explain why I'm not. Okay, you can look that way all you want to. But when I feel someone, I don't let I don't reward bad behavior. I don't let someone get comfortable with bad behavior. If you disrespect me, I'm going to stop you right there and tell you. You may talk to whomever you want to like that. I have yet to talk to you like that. And operative word being yet, because if we proceed, I will. This was not a give and take. I'm allowing you to course correct. So I let you know up front that behavior will not be tolerated over here. That's not confrontational. That's just telling you that this shit doesn't fly over here. And that's what I found is what it is confrontational would be if you tell me that and I argue with you about your shit, about how you want to be treated. That's confrontational. What you did was just set the tone and standard. You put up your boundary and I'm trying to fight you on your boundary. No, that's not confrontation. That's just setting the tone and how you're going to interact with me, period. That's different.
I agree. I agree with that 100%. Go ahead. Were you about to say something?
No, that's it. That's
Okay.
it.
All right, number 6. Ooh, you have toxic relationships. Well, I would guess so. You don't speak up for yourself. You fail to speak up when you're being mistreated. You give away too much of your own time. You don't stand up for yourself. You feel guilty for taking care of yourself, and you get, of course,
I'm pretty
toxic
sure
relationship.
number 6 should have summed up everything because all of that equates to that. But however, what I have found is, so I had a friend, and he said for 6 months he was just gonna stop dating, just to realign and truly get to know himself. So he went to therapy, he did all of that, and then he came back and he was like, I think I was the problem.
Well, to thine own self be
Be
true,
true.
sir.
Thank you. So I looked at him, I was like, but I told you that. Out of all those situations, you were the common factor, and none of your behavior changed. None of it. You went into it with that same mindset, and I kept asking you, did you not learn anything? How long are you choosing to be a willful idiot to your own actions because you know better? Every female has said the same damn thing about you. I'm not even trying to screw you, and I see it, which is the reason why I would never. Hell no. You got me totally, because he was like, well, you understand me. Why would you? I said, boy, I would literally smother you while you're looking at me.
Wow.
Not in your fucking sleep, but while you stare at me. I would smother you where you stand. If you ever try what you try with them with me, shit, smother you while you're looking at me in front of your mother.
I take that back. You're giving off some Cersei vibes now. Not no. You giving off some. I'm, I'm gonna put the green flame on you right now. I'm just not even. I'm gonna read the rest of these because the last 10 minutes I got to get your opinion on something that happened here recently. So the last couple, you have chronic fear about what others think of you. You overshare details about your life with others. You constantly feel like the victim. You attract people who try to control or dominate you. Those are the type of people that I limit in my circle. I can't deal with it. I can't because you know what? People like that, until they are ready to get good advice, will never take good advice.
Because
They
it's
will.
always an excuse as
It's
to why
always
they can't, but never a
Mhm.
reason as to why they should. So when someone like that, as you say, I knew a person and she used to say things. She was like, well, I need to do this. I'm like, well, do it. She was like, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well then fuck it, don't. Then like shit, what do you the fuck you want me to do? You saying that you don't like it. So I told her, I was like, okay, so the next time you talk to me, I don't want to talk about this. And if we do, it better be at the end of that a process as to how the hell you going to exit. Because either you're going to take it and shut the fuck up, do something for it to change, or leave. Those are your only 3 options. But what's not an option is for you to talk to me about this shit again. That is not an option.
Right. Wow. So we didn't get a chance to talk about limitations. And there was a list of limitations, limitations in finance, limitations in stability and community, limitations in physical, emotional health, self-understanding. I would encourage people that if you are having issues with setting boundaries and setting limitations, to not only do some research, but seek some professional help and get in front of some professionals that can help you set some boundaries and know your limitations and set some boundaries. Because there are some times where people need help doing that. So I would encourage people to do that. So, the thing that I wanted to get your opinion on, and I don't know how this is going to go, but I'm going to give it a shot. There was an incident on Sesame Street where, you know how they have the little parade or whatever, and you know what? I'm gonna just roll the clip. How about I do that?
Please do.
Give me just a second.
After a mother claims a character park blatantly ignored her children. This video on Instagram has nearly 500,000 views. The mother posted it on Saturday and says she believes the incident is racially motivated. Sesame Place released a statement this evening saying, in part, we sincerely apologize to the family for their experience on Saturday. We know that it's not okay. We are taking actions to do better. We will conduct training for our employees so they better understand, recognize, and deliver an inclusive, equitable, and entertaining experience to our guests.
So basically, what happened was the actor that was playing these characters from Sesame Street. That were playing these characters. They saw these little kids on the side. They saw these two little black girls, and as the little girls were reaching out their arms to embrace them, the character just sort of waved them off and just ignored them. And the actor gave some kind of excuse on why he did that, saying that it had nothing to do with racism or whatever. It had to do with someone requesting that he take a picture while holding a child, and that's not allowed or whatever. But I wanted to get your opinion on that. What do you think about what do you think about that whole situation?
Wait a minute. Okay, so if you can't hold the child, then squat between them. And you could have made that clear to say, I can't hold them. Those girls look too big to be held any freaking way. Let's get that out of the way.
Right.
So, no, I don't believe that. I believe that it was a bullshit excuse to cover up a blatant bias.
Facts.
Because that could have been course corrected if they were trying to get you to. What? They showed Bert slapping a kid and Ernie?
Then they showed Bert slapping a kid in one. Yeah, I couldn't find that video in time, Jay Blaze, but yeah, you're absolutely right. And what has happened is that this particular video now is being a pattern is being established on how these characters overlook our kids at these theme parks and at these theme places, and how our kids are getting mistreated by these characters or these actors that are playing these characters.
So, but this is my thing. Oh God.
Take a minute, because I know that's one of your triggers. So let's.
For one,
I'm gonna tell you.
Really
yeah, go ahead.
Truly, no. Yes, to see it is triggering. Don't get me wrong. But are we really surprised with the temperature and the pulse of this country? Not to mention the construct in which this infrastructure was built upon. Are we surprised? I mean, yes, to see it is one thing, but we always knew this. The problem is that with cameras, things are getting exposed. So now the offenders now have to come up with these bullshit ass excuses because why wasn't exclusion?
Yeah, Carla says, yep, I would have showed out. I do not care.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I'm not saying not to have a reaction to it. That's not what I'm saying. However, I'm saying is that, are we really surprised of the actions of these people?
Let me pose it to you like this, because I already know that whatever whatever we call you, Cersei, the dragon, mother dragons, whatever, it would have been on full display on Sesame Street. They would have had
you're right.
but
Because I would have stepped in and drug his ass and said, "Did you not see those two trying to talk to you? And you don't do any bullshit like that." And everybody would have caught me saying, "What the fuck is your problem? You see them. How the hell are you just gonna bypass them and go over there to talk to the hueless hooligans?"
Right. So
Like,
here's
you
my
just
question.
don't do that.
Right. Here's my question to you. Are we placing too much value on characters and not enough value on parents?
Yeah, but okay, so
You get what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
you know,
But who's
like,
advocating for our kids?
right. There you
So
go.
that's the reason why I said I would have stepped in. My kids are not. When he walked away, who was his obstacle not to get away? To say they wanted to take a picture of you. If you're not going to be out here for all, then you probably need to quit your damn job.
Facts.
And then literally had someone and you recorded that, but then you didn't record confronting him, ask him again, why did you do that? Because it's easy to go, it's hard when you're put on the spot and you have to like rapid fire your bullshit ass actions. Because that wasn't an excuse to say just because, oh, I can't hold kids. Okay, Elmo, we understand that. We don't want you to touch kids any fucking way. But however, those kids, as I said, look way too big to be held. So that's a lie. And all you had to do was give a little bit of your time. It's like, you know for a fact that those kids revere Sesame Street. What is it? Coco Melon, Gracie's Corner, Clifford the Big Red Dog, Caillou, and all whatever other stuff that's out there that is geared towards kids. And when you as a parent, your kid is asking you, "Can I go see this? Can I go see this?" And you spend your hard-earned money to do something for your child that you know that's gonna put a smile on their face, only to have them mistreated. Dora, Rosita, that should do something to you as a parent. Because I literally would have stepped in between and said, my kids ask something of you. If you don't turn your fucking ass around and do that, you're gonna have me to deal with. And that's not something you want. My daughters wouldn't have seen that. They would have saw me step in, but they wouldn't have heard that from me because they know mom to be a certain way. But I bet he would have had a new attitude.
Well, you know, the parents, of course, have now lawyered up, which they should. Yeah. And I feel like Sesame Place now, at bare minimum, should pay for these kids' education from whatever they're grading now up through their PhD.
But does
you know,
that change it?
But it's not going to change. Right.
Because you've ruined their level of, because I know if I was a kid and you did, I don't see Sesame Place, Sesame Street, Sesame, what the hell. I don't see that the same anymore.
Right.
You know, because now you just literally, it's one thing to talk to your kids about it, but that exposure to the blatant discrimination, the exclusion, it shifts them because they don't understand that.
Yeah, we're talking like 5 and 6 years old. You know,
they don't understand that.
Right. Hey, Carla, I promise you, I have let people know not mine at school and various places. You know, sometimes you got to. You know, sometimes it has to be established. So
I mean, I've went places. When my little brothers and things were younger, I had to be chaperones for them. And I've seen kids, I've seen other parents, regardless of the kids' colors, knowing that these kids were there, but they couldn't partake in the other activities because the mom wanted them to go, but maybe they didn't have enough money in order to enjoy the festivities like other kids. However, me on the other hand, I took them in. I'm not going to let a kid feel left out when I know I have the means just because their parents couldn't. That's not their fault. You don't exclude kids like that. That just pisses me off to a different level, because we as adults, you should know better. For a character, you know, you're there for all kids, not certain kids. You yourself should know better. Because think about it. If it had been one of us that was in that damn costume that literally negated, ostracized little white kids, we would have been flopped. We would have been flopped.
Yeah.
However, the problem is that they get away with this shit far too fucking much for this to continue to be the norm. When are we going to apply the pressure? When are we going to set some boundaries and some limitations? Thank you. When are we going to apply that level of pressure to where it's to say that this shit is not okay? Like, I don't give a shit how you feel about it. So I've had a white person tell me, who are you to talk to me like that? And I looked up or down and asked her, who the fuck are you that I can't?
Facts.
Like, bitch, you are not that. And I try to tell them all the time, to be honest, we don't want shit you have. You're on mute, just so you know.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay. We don't want shit that you have. We honestly just want to be left the fuck alone. It's you that get in our business. We don't care about your fucking business. It's you that have a fear for what it is, the power that we hold, when we know that you're weak as fuck. Like, it's a thing that your fear of who we could actually be, who we are, that literally keeps you shuddering and awake at night. So the only thing that you can do is to try to exercise your level of ignorance and stupidity and cast that all over to make us be who you really are. See, what you try to put on us is a projection of you. Period. Sorry, I got on my soapbox.
No. This is good. It took us a little bit over, but this is something that, you know, we both feel strongly about, and that you know, here on Truth, Honesty, and Transparency, we are hoping to, you know, evoke some changes, get people they're thinking about not just in the short term what can be done, but in the long term what is going to be done. You know what
has to be done in order to promote that long term change in a continuum. Not something that is just here from now, because think about it. All the stuff that was happening in 2020 with George Floyd, I don't hear any of that now. Why? Because they threw a bone, not the whole carcass, just the bone, but didn't really and truly promote change. And just because they said that they would, that was enough for us. But where is the accountability from us to them? It's like we are afraid to rock the boat or tell them to go fuck themselves. It's like we're too afraid to do that. And why? When we have the numbers, we have the voice, and to be honest, without us buying their goods, without us buying into them, without us actually promoting them, without us actually rallying behind what it is, that the little bit that they have to offer, we literally make them but won't invest and make ourselves. It doesn't make sense.
You know, and as you're talking, it dawned on me. As long as we have people like your gentleman that you met on your trip that are afraid to leave their block, that are afraid to leave their street, that are afraid to go register to vote, that are afraid to go do their research, this is going to keep repeating itself.
I mean,
yeah, and so I'm gonna go ahead and give you the final word.
Okay.
It's on you.
As we see what type of atmosphere that creating limits on ourselves, but not applying and enforcing the appropriate boundaries, we see the recourse that comes from that. We see the adverse or anaphylactic effects that it have on us as not only individuals, but us as a whole. We have to start doing that work to start to put ourselves first and understand that we're more than worth it. at the end, it's only us. But us together can promote greatness. Us together can promote change. Us together can be a revolution, and it will not be televised. You will only feel it. With that being said, thank you again for tuning in to Truth, Honesty, and Transparency. And understand this is only a place for facts, real, true opinions, and for you to actually have a platform to feel heard and listened to. Thank you so much.
It's true. It's true. It's true. Truth is love.